Oh. Oh, fuck. There we go. Fuck, oh, come on. Are you fucking yawning? Get this one out. My left one sheet. Jesus. I mean, fucking car, dude. I'm gonna say. Nice. Get this loaded up. No iPhone shit. That's not really fun. It's more tedious at this fucking rate. Just a tedious fucking routine. What are you doing? Hey! What are you doing? Did you knock it off? Seriously, dude? Ah, fucking dog. What? Everyone's staring at me like a weirdo. Fuck him on. It's like this little thing, and then I look at him for a little bit, and then he just stares at me and just stops. So that's kind of weird. It's like he knows he's guilty or something. French got beat like a drum by peasants. Well, yeah. Because the French were a colonial superpower that fucking basically collapsed during World War II and had like little to no power to continue holding its colonies after the fact, after World War II, so I mean, it's like, the fuck do you expect? Of course, during the 50s and shit, the Vietnamese were gonna revolt. I gotta get my fucking brain, like, awake. Well, I mean, it's not even, like, not awake, but I don't know, I just hate having fucking depressive spells, honestly.
The gun store.
Shut the fuck, oh my god, I never pop up YouTube Shorts, but every time I, like, have the, like start the app up, it immediately does that. Like, holy fuck. It's so annoying. But they were too weak to do much. They're British. It's actually kind of interesting. I would have figured it probably would have been, if anything, like a, you know, maybe more or less like a collaboration with France and stuff, considering there were a lot of, like, Vietnamese students like Ho Chi Minh who literally went to universities and colleges in places like in Europe and in France and shit. Which is actually where Ho Chi Minh learned about socialism and learned about leftism too, was going to France for universities and shit because, you know, because of, you know, the French owning Vietnam for a while. So it's just like, if anything, there was kind of a silver lining to it, because if anything, Ho Chi Minh, at least especially in his early days, was wanting to like work with France a little bit, at least be like, hey, I mean, we can be collaborative nations and shit, but we want to be independent and just have it our own way and shit. But obviously the French colonial like status of things are just like, no. And then the French came to us for help. Anyway, I guess some stuff to check on too for later or a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Work today. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I mean, part of me probably should, just mainly because I at least need like a couple hours at least, a little extra. Because we've at least earlier this week closed up early a couple nights, so probably. But I need to go down there anyway to grab groceries anyway, like tea and shit. So I'll see about it. And so it's at least going to be just for like 3-4 hours or something. I was initially going to do it yesterday, but also just because of like how many people were there yesterday anyway, wasn't really much of a need for it, so didn't bother with that yesterday, but today I probably will. She doesn't want to get another job after she quit KFC. I mean, a part of me doesn't blame her. But DoorDashing isn't exactly, you know, long term either. And also, just like that basically just depends on if people, you know, order frequently and use you as the driver, basically, you know, specifically in order to get money for doing that. So it's not even like 100% consistent. But it's something. But those jobs are a scam, in my opinion. They are. I mean, they honestly are. I mean, yeah, it's obviously no offense to them. I mean, they're trying to get their fucking bucks to everybody else. So I don't blame, you know, the gig workers for it. But yeah, the gig economy, especially with it, you know, being like intensely, just heavily exploited towards them. Yeah, like it's just going to be, you know, utterly fucked. And yeah, pretty much just a scam. YouTube, give me a notification saying I have unlocked features of creating community posts now. Cool. So I could do community posts. Actually, that might help a little bit with like visibility. Doing like little polls or some shit. just seem like a bad idea, honestly, because I know a lot of people have gotten their YouTube channels kind of big just on the virtue of having, like, community posts. I don't know how or why necessarily, but there's something about community posts in the community tab section of channels that the algorithm kind of bumps up a lot. So, thanks, YouTube, I guess. Oh shit, there's like an old ass video of a Maxim machine gun being shot by Hiram Maxim himself. Holy shit, it is. Yeah, it's rolling this bitch up, about to shoot it and everything. Some 1897 footage. And it's colorized. And you can tell that the colorization's a little wacky because his pants are the same color as the grass. And his jacket keeps fading from like a blue to a gray. Like the black and white gray. Oh, now his entire jacket's grass. Okay, I find it a little annoying that people put in audio post effect afterwards. Like, it's silent, and then out of nowhere, even though it's, like, well after it starts shooting, they add the audio. It's like, that gets a little annoying. I get the ambiance aspect of it, but still. Geez, back in the day, like, the guns just have, like, no recoil. It was a game changer. Yeah. I mean, it definitely was. Holy shit. It's got a fucking, like, artillery gun. Okay, now it's just reloading or redoing the fucking video for some reason. Here. Yeah, I don't know why the dude decided to repeat that. It's like, let me have my back now. Let me have my hat now, sir. I think that's a Hotchkiss revolver. What, this? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that was just on repeat. Let me see. Like, it jolts right back to the original frame. I don't think that's a revolving, like, artillery piece. I think that's just repeating the shot that he took. I don't know why, you know, the person... Like, because also, if it was, it would not shoot that many fucking times. I think it would only shoot 6 or, like, 8 times. Depending on, I guess, how big the, you know, revolving shit. You're right, yeah. Yeah, it's just way too janky. Especially considering the rest of the video. Him bowing at the end. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I am deaf. I never expected in my age to ever see actual recording Sir Maxim himself. Alright, well, yeah. Oh, I mean, at this point. Didn't notice that until you mentioned it. Yeah, I mean, it was very noticeable for me. Just seeing it right off the bat, just like, oh, they're repeating the same footage of him shooting the cannon over and over again. Like, him at least shooting the gun, that was all, like, very consistent all the way to the end, but the cannon one, that's like, really? Just shoot it once. Or at least just have it go all the way once through and then, you know, repeat it after that or something. But I guess just because overall they would have been basically, like, less than a minute worth of footage at that point instead of, like, a minute and a half, but... Either way, still kind of cool. I'm pretty sure also that wasn't his first, like, machine gun invention either, because there was, he wasn't the one to do it, but there was a Gatling. Gatling gun made, the Gatling gun, which that you basically had to crank it to turn the barrels, and doing that allowed, you know, each barrel to be shot. But In order to shoot, though, you know, you had to pull the trigger with it, you know, in order to do that as well. But pulling the trigger and not cranking it would only shoot one barrel, so you had to like do this whole motion, and literally was a multi-crew gun. So instead of having like a line infantry regiment, you can basically have like a crew of like 3 dudes, basically be the equivalent of at least half of that. Which, of course, the idea was, hey, let's just have like 20 dudes battle it out against each other with these fat, gigantic Gatling guns. Like that was gonna work. Because that ended up just adding more blood and chaos and shit to the fucking war. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if casualties were would be less if it wasn't for that invention, honestly. Thought it would have been the same effect as the atomic bomb did later. Yeah, basically. The weapon to end all wars type of thing. Like, yeah, no one's gonna fuck with us and no one's gonna want to go to war anymore because of this, but... Nope. This is gonna be the weapon that brings peace. So now people would be too scared to use it. And, yeah, that... yeah, like, that's ever gonna work. As long as, like, there's ways that humans can kill each other or destroy each other, like, people are going to use anything under the sun to do so. As long as people have that urge. That includes Gatling guns to nukes. I mean, it's like those, because, think about it, it's like, especially for, like, nukes and shit, it's like, those aren't manufactured and developed, and built, just to sit and look pretty, and sit on display somewhere in a fucking silo that only government workers and military troops are gonna fucking see, and even then, only if they have the clearance. It's like, it's like they aren't built to look pretty for a very specific group of people. They're built to, be used at some point. So, of course, eventually there's going to be some nasty fuck that's going to be wanting to use that shit. I mean, it's like, including, back then it was the Gatling gun, and then later down the line, like, chemical warfare and shit like that, but then, nukes came on the table. I guess, the nuke has pretty much been the closest thing to the weapon that pretty much everybody doesn't want to use, but there's been more than enough people out there that have shown that they are more certainly willing to do it if they could. I mean, just the rumor of, like, a dirty bomb now being, like, mentioned and shit, because of fucking Ukraine war and stuff just kind of proves that. Because if that's the case, it doesn't necessarily have to be Putin that fucking drops radioactive, explosive shit everywhere. But that's kind of the big fear about, like, nukes to me. It's not because, like, oh, some madman happens to have power to turn the key to, launch the nukes. It's more or less the fact that there are people that know how to get access to those things who, that, for all intents and purposes, their clearance is based on how they feel. MacArthur wanted to carpet nuke the border between North Korea and China to stop Chinese from helping North Korea, which is the main reason why Truman also fired MacArthur, too. Because, like, one of the reasons, like, outside of being basically just an incompetent general and a fucking moron, like, honestly, if anything, that's a part of it. Like, he literally wanted to nuke a majority, especially of northeastern China, near Korea, to basically fucking cripple the entire Chinese state and also puppet them, basically, as well, by having a military dictatorship, overruling China, too. And basically, in the process, radioactively just destroy the fuck out of, like, half of China and Korea and pretty much, like, the Far East in general. Oh, and, like, the West Coast and the entire Pacific and, Alaska, Canada, at least, all on the West Coast, especially. Because, that radioactive dust just is never going to be able to cross that Pacific. No. That doesn't happen at all. Especially when you carpet nuke a place, like, yeah. Like, one nuke would be bad enough, but, like, yeah, let's just launch, like, hundreds of them. Or dozens of them, at least. I mean, some of the early days of the Korean War were actually fucking disastrous for the United States, if anything, because of some of this type of fucking doctrine. Like, yeah, doing mass carpet bombing and strategic bombing raids and shit, like, that was pretty much the end of that. Like, when it came to using that as the primary way of doing, like, bombing campaigns and shit. until, modern days, I guess, with B-52s and shit now at this point. But before then, it was like using the B-29s. And in fact, there was literally, I forgot the name of it, but it's pretty much known as a massacre, basically, where the North Koreans and Chinese basically, had a turkey shoot. Like, there was the Luzon turkey shoot back in World War II with the Japanese, like, whatever left of their Navy Air Force and their Army Air Force was, like, left, especially in the Pacific, was essentially just utterly just wiped out. It's like after their carrier forces and shit were fucked over and destroyed in Midway, and all the carriers outside of 2 supporting carriers that weren't even partaking in the battle were destroyed. Like, after that, like, their entire fucking Air Force was just... After Luzon and the Leyte Gulf and shit, that was the end. Like, that was the end of that. So it's like the North Koreans and Chinese basically did that for America up until the United States eventually got the F-86 Sabres more mass-produced and were able to get those to the front. Then all of a sudden, America had equal firepower to the MiG-15s. Well, kind of. MiG-15s were all cannons and no machine guns. Anything less than 23mm cannon on our planes is bullshit and pussy talk. 50 calibers, that's like a 22 to us, you bitch. I'm being serious. They, like, the lowest caliber cannon I think they had on their MiGs were, I think 20 mils. And then I think they had like 2 20 mils and 1 23 mil and then like a 37 mil. Like, they were all fucking cannons and nothing else. I mean, you know what, let me just look up a picture of one of these fuckers. I mean, seriously, though. MiG-15. Yeah. The second result was MiG-17 for sale. It's like I could buy a MiG-17. Yeah, totally. Here, let's see if we can, Ah, here we go. Here's a nice picture of one from the oldies. Yeah. Used by the Soviet Air Forces, the Chinese, and the Korean Air Forces, yeah. I want to see some pictures where it has this gun showing. Oh, here we go. This is the front view of it. So this is the MiG-15. For fuck's sake, look at this. I mean, it doesn't have the actual, like, cannons installed them anymore, but those are the cannon ports. That one right there is, that tiny one on the bottom is the 20. The one next to it's the 23 millimeter. That's the 37 millimeter. Right there. Like, like, all cannons and no machine gun. Like, so, like, the Russians did not fuck around when it came to having their fucking, like, weapons having their aircraft having, like, a shitload of, a Red Bull MiG? It got bought by Red Bull. God damn it. Oh, here's one that has old cannons on it. Yeah. You can see them popping out right there. Yeah, they don't look big, but they're huge in comparison to what we normally had on our aircraft, which were 50 cals. And at the biggest, maybe like 20 mils. 8 patents, much senior, good lefts, but the male's good general. Yeah, same with Rommel, like you mentioned there too. I mean, both of them were definitely conservative as fuck right-wingers and shit, but, I mean, at least when it came to being military tacticians and strategists, like, yeah. Different specifications of that, yeah. And let's see the specific armament. Yeah. Oh, okay. I was actually slightly off. It was 2 23 millimeter cannons, autocannons, and then 1 37 millimeter cannon. So I was right about at least 1 37 and 1 23 millimeter, but so they didn't have a 120 and 123. They didn't have one of each. They just had 2 23s and then 1 37. All documents Sooth inside because he was suspected of treason. Well, yeah. I mean, if anything, honestly, I'd argue that he was killed by the Nazi regime. Like, because essentially, like, they gave him an ultimatum. Like, either you can be considered like a hero and die of honor with like honor titles and shit like that, and at least have a funeral and everything if you just take the cyanide pill. Or we can try you and kill you and execute you and then basically make you look like a traitor to the German people and then make everyone hate you. You know, like, despite, you know, your honors and titles or whatever the fuck. And, you know, Rommel, at least, you know, didn't want to die looking like, you know, he's like, oh, well, I don't want just average people hating me. Like, I mean, because, or anything like that. Because he wasn't necessarily, like, you know, loyal to the regime itself. Like, he never really cared about that. I mean, if anything, he was at least, like, open to the idea of, like, a different government and potentially partaking in that, but he never actually fell through with that. He's just, you know, considered it. But because he's, you know, yeah, he was in contact with a lot of people that were part of, you know, different plans to overthrow Hitler's government, like, yeah, he was pretty much, like, suspect number one for a lot of people. And considered a loose end. Just like half the Nazis over the time of the Nazi fucking regime. Like, when you see, like, when you basically look at, like, who was around in a Nazi party from when the Nazis started, like, pretty much only, like, a quarter of them were left, you know, by the end of it. Not because, like, they all slowly, like, died or were captured or anything, but because they literally were killing each other off. Because of paranoia and, like, oh, you're a traitor to the cause and all this other shit. Just over shit like that. Internal beef. And it got way worse as the war went on. Like, by the time it was, like, 43 onward, like, there was just, like, fucking executions and killings of officers and troops left and right just on the suspicion they might have been a fucking traitor to the Nazi cause and shit. Especially once there was Russians in Germany and in Berlin by that point. Like, if you weren't fighting, you were a traitor, basically, at that rate. Patton died under suspicious circumstances too. There's a conspiracy theory Truman had him yeeted. So how did he die? Because I'll look that up. I actually don't know much about Patton, at least when it comes to his death. Let's see here. Holy fucking shit, man. Battles and wars. So he first started in the army during the Mexican Revolution and he first partook as a soldier at the Battle of San Miguelito. And then he was also in World War I too, at the St. Michael campaign and the Meuse-Argonne. So he was out in the Argonne too. Right. Yeah. Post-war, I'm assuming. Accident and death. Okay. Patton's chief of staff, Major General Hobart Gay, invited him to on December 9th, 1945 pheasant hunt trip near Speyer to lift the spirits, observing derelict cars alongside a road. Patton said, "How awful war is. Think of the waste." Moments later, 1938 Cadillac limousine they were riding in collided with an American Army truck at low speed. Gay and others are only slightly injured, but Patton hit his head on the glass partition that separated the front and back seat. He began bleeding from a gash in the head and complained that he was paralyzed and having trouble breathing. Taken to the hospital in Heidelberg, Patton was discovered to have compression fracture and dislocation of the cerebral third, fourth, and vertebrae. Ow! Resulting in broken neck and cervical spinal cord, and he was still able to, like, talk and be like, fuck, ow, hey, having trouble breathing, paralyzed, help. He was still able to talk? Fuck. Patton spent most of the next 12 days in spinal traction to decrease the pressure in the spine. All non-medical visitors except Patton's wife Beatrice, who had flown from the U.S., were forbidden. Patton, who had been told he had no chance to ever again ride a horse or resume normal life, at one point commented, "This is a hell of a way to die." He died in his sleep of pulmonary edema and congestive heart failure at about 6 p.m. on December 21st, 1945. See suspicious circumstances. It doesn't say anything on Wiki about that. It just saying that, and then December 21st, he was buried at Luxembourg American Cemetery Memorial in Ham District of Luxembourg City. Along some wartime casualties to the Third Army, in accordance with his quest to be buried with his men. While he was initially buried in the middle of the plot like every other service member, the large number of visitors to his grave damaged the cemetery grounds and remains were moved to the current location at the front of the grave plots. Yeah, it doesn't say anything else besides that, at least when it comes to the accident and death part. It doesn't say anything about suspicious circumstances. Yeah. At least on Wikipedia it didn't. It's one hell of a way to die, though. I mean, in a car wreck. I mean, honestly, unfortunately, that isn't necessarily, like, unusual for a lot of people to die. Jerome Pound's car accident remains controversial. Alright, I found something that talks about it. Wait, so was this the limousine? Was that the limousine? Because, honestly, the front of it looks damaged. Not like the cabin itself looks fine. Dead from injuries sustained in a car crash after the close of World War II. General George Spann left in a wake tremendously. He buried. He was Pierce Sicily when he might win the race to Messina against the British Eighth Army. Oh, he's standing in front of I think, an Italian tank. Or a French tank? Well, it might seem a little too coincidental. Pound was exposed to allegedly slap and dress down soldiers and feel hospital. Ba-ba. Okay, it's just talking about shit. Oh, wait, okay, here we go. Pound was still a stitch German when exhibited. In the front seat of the Cadillac, which is being driven by Private H.L. Woodring, his favorite chauffeur. However, when the journal noticed the hunting guide's dog was riding in an open-top Jeep, he asked for the party to pull over and had the dog sit in the front car so it could warm up. Pat moved to the back seat. Sadly, good deed would not go unpunished. Traveling on the road, constantly Cadillac collided with the passenger side of a U.S. Army truck, which turned left. Claiming the limousine Patton was traveling at relatively low speed. Others say Private Woodring was going too fast for conditions. During the accident, Patton struck his head on the glass partition in front of him. The impact resulted in a compression fracture and dislocation of the cervical third. Yeah. Rubbed the Russian officers the wrong way in many social and diplomatic relations. Oh, so it was the commies that did it. Uh-oh. Is that what it is? I also been talking about the prospects of invading Russia, saying they're obviously inferior to Americans who would fold in no time. But, yeah, tell that to the Germans and the French. See how that worked out for them. Dumbass. Many of the upper ranks of the U.S. didn't like such a proposition, feeling which was heard by much of D.C. and other powers at the time. Some believe it was Stalin. He feared that the man could pull off an invasion successfully. Others claim it was CIA, others in U.S. Gov, actors in the British government, and even allied. Oh my fucking god, dude. Jesus Christ. Okay, this seems far-fetched, bro. Was it the CIA? Was it Stalin? Was it British or U.S. allied leaders working with Stalin? It's like, oh my god, bro. Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe. I was also vocal and post-war Germany about the denazification process and our moves with Gov. Eisenhower moved him in the U.S. commander in Bavaria for politically unwise statements that was transferred to the 5th Army Group in his final post. Huh? This unwise statements, what would those statements be? It's like, hey, fuck Nazis, but, you know, we're going to denazify now, and, like, he made some other statements, I guess, in the process. Like, I don't know. Anyway, it seems a little, out there. I mean, maybe he didn't want to denazify. Wait, was I reading wrong? Hold on. He was vocal about the denazification process and other moves of the government. Removing, he didn't want to. Okay. Okay, I see it now. I mean, it doesn't clarify, honestly, in that sentence there. It's like he was vocal about denazification. It's like, what? How, though? You know, it never really specified that. But I said it a little later down the line. I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, that one makes sense, honestly. So, basically a sympathizer to far-right ideas, hyper-conservative, aggressive as fuck. You know, obviously not a fan of the Russians, has, you know, talked and, you know, plotted an idea and proposal to fucking invade Russia, basically, and keep World War II going, if anything. So, it's just like, all in all, I mean, you basically got, like, a dude who's kind of a mass controversial and, if anything, legit, like, probably a threatening figure, you know, at the time. He would denazify if he had the people to replace them, but he claimed he didn't. Oh, I want to denazify, but the people to replace the Nazis, you know, aren't there, so, oh well, I guess we have to keep the Nazis. It's like, what? What the fuck? The Moab. You've heard of the Moab, but now there's the Moab. Mother of all pipe bombs. World's biggest pipe bomb. Are you trying to, like, get, like, are you trying to get, like, the international, like, law on your ass there, bro? Ordnance Lab? Are you trying to get, like, the literal fucking, like, it's like Geneva Conventions on you? Or something? You compare the Republicans and Democrats to the Nazis as well. Who does that sound like? I mean, not necessarily with, like, the Nazis thing specifically, but blaming Republicans and Dems for acting like a very specific group of people that, you know... I mean, honestly, back then, I could see Dems maybe, kind of, but even then, not really. Because you have, like, you know, the more left ones, you know, like FDR and shit that were around. Like, what the fuck? My foot is all just itchy. It's really driving me nuts. So, even... Fuck. Oh yeah, definitely need to re-up a little bit later than that. Come on, get out. 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 Fine. Fine. Do that then, you prick. Go. Definitely need to re-up for later than that. Until Thursday. What's this little red post? Friends or play video games? Seriously? Just between those two? probably just play video games. Seen the movie Patton countless times because my stepdad loves that movie. Because it's basically just like a slobbering blowjob for America and Patton. Like, this basically is just what it is. I mean, there is some memes in it a little bit. Like, there are some, funny memes and some, some good moments in the movie and shit. But all in all, it's just like a very heavily biased, towards, favoritism of Patton and all that shit. And, obviously hyper-America jingoism. The fun little fact about the movie, though, is that for the German tanks that they use, they're actually using M62 Patton tanks, which obviously are named after him. Which I thought was actually kind of cool. It's like, oh, okay. It's like a little homage. The director decided to use Patton tanks and just paint them up to look like German Afrika Korps tanks and shit. Which, honestly, they looked, if you know what those tanks look like now and shit, like between like the German tanks, like the Panzerkampfwagens versus like a M62 Patton tank, like it is very, 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 very obvious. Actually, I could probably find it. Where is it? They also include a scene where he slaps soldier for being shell-shocked, calling him a coward. That wasn't very flattering to him. Well, because that's something that he also did. Patton did do that, but even in that scene, they flowered it up. Because they basically made it look like the soldier's like, kind of like, oh, okay, and then just kind of like sucked it up and moved on and shit, but in reality, that's not what happened. In fact, he was very heavily reprimanded for it, but in the movie made it look like it wasn't as big of a deal as it was. So even then, they still kind of flowered him in a better light. It's like, oh yeah, he was a man of, every now and then of, troubled, positions and troubled, actions, but, was still on the right side of things, and even then you can understand why he did, and it was just doing so, and blah, blah, blah. It's like that type of flowery, like, defense type of shit. It's like, well, yeah, on normal circumstances, it wouldn't be good to do that to a soldier, but, he's being a bitch, so it's war. Unless he wants to get bayoneted to death by a fucking Nazi scum, then he needs to go literally, slice every fucking throat of every fucking Nazi he sees, unless he's just a fucking bitch. So I'm gonna slap you, you fucking degenerate. You goddamn woke lib. Libtard being all scared like, oh no, I'm shell-shocked, I can't go to war. Just like, pussy. It's like this, ball. We got Nazis to kill. It's like exactly how, like, the mentality would be with it, honestly. And I guarantee you, it's probably how a lot of, at least conservatives that hella love that movie probably view it. Like, tell me I'm wrong. Like, seriously, though. Like, I guarantee you, stepdad looks at that scene and it's like, well, there was a reason why I did it, and he was justified doing so, because that soldier needed to suck it up and quit being a bitch. Quit being a coward and blah, 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 blah. It's like, I guarantee it, dude. And I found the clip. Rommel, you magnificent bastard! I've read your book! He does say that, Lamau. Told ya! See? Even with the scene that doesn't necessarily paint him a good light, they're still gonna make it look like it's good, in their eyes. So here's the German tanks, but those are M62 Patton tanks. Like, those are straight up American tanks. Now, those are real American tanks from World War II. I think that's a M10 Wolverine anti-tank tank. Anti-tank tank. It sounds kind of contradictory, but tank destroyer, I think they're called. Okay, this is an awesome shot. Like, this really shows, the Patton tank, you know, for what it is, because it has that dome of a turret. It looks like almost like a T-62 or something like that, like a fucking Russian tank almost. Which honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if either side stole the tech and the design a little bit from the other. I love how people die in these movies. They just like flail your arms out or just do this and then just like turn around and then just like fall. Tank destroyers were fielded until heavy tanks became easier to make and use. Yep. So basically, like, I noticed that at least in that shot right here, this one right here, even though it's still a Patton tank that they're using, they try to like have it arced at an angle to make it look like a Stug, I think. Yeah, like a Stug Tiger or something like that. I think it, or like a Stug Panther. Like they had the camera at an angle, you know, to make it look like at least a design of a German tank at the time. Yeah, like, you know, like a Stug Tiger or something like that. Well, I guess it would just probably be like a Stug, just regularly. Oh my god, so many Patton tanks everywhere. So obvious. It's like all the soldiers are like historically accurate. I mean, they're all wearing Afrika Korps uniforms and German guns, but like the tanks are just so blaringly like out in the open. I find the movie enjoyable to watch. It is enjoyable to watch. It also has like that old war drama charm. You magnificent bastard! Read a book! I read your book! The eyes of a psycho. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest right there. That low-key, though. Ironic that Patton, the generals destroying U.S. Patton tanks, painted to look like German tanks. I love it. Patton tanks everywhere, and Patton's taking out Pattons. He's taking out his botched clones. It's like, my botched clones got out of the research lab. I need to quell them. Oh. Wow. Of course, that scene I was talking about is right there. I won't have cowards in my army. See what I mean? Even in that video's title, it's just like it shows it there. So I won't have cowards armor. And it's like, that's right, amen, brother. Can't have no goddamn coward, woke, liberal transgenders in our fucking military being all a bunch of pussies. Fucking libs. Woke fine on military. See if it gets you still in Bologna. Probably. I mean, I have no idea what, you know, THCO would do specifically. Here, let's see what other little things are on tube. Not really too much. Should police use man catchers? What in the fuck is this? What is that? What the fuck is that? What is his face? Jesus. What the fuck, YouTube? Okay. Yeah, part of me wants to click this.
Recently, I was in China.
Ow. That looked like it hurt. Content,
It
baby.
is a very large, very delicious, and very confusing place.
Pest rooms.
And one thing that really boggled my head was that the majority of coppers I saw had these giant half-moon spears, which they carried around everywhere. And at first, I found these cops quite intimidating. But then, I realised that was all they had. They didn't have any other weapons. You know, in Australia, when you see cops, they usually look like a high-level player that has kind of strolled into the newbie area with
You mean American cops?
a barrage of max-level weapons. And they've got so many weapons that they need to wear special belts so they can keep piling more weapons.
I mean, you're talking about American cops. You're saying Australian? Jesus Christ, are we two peas in a pod here, mate?
And all of these weapons are designed to destroy
Is
you.
yet to be identified, died after a confrontation with officers. He was tasered in what...
When there's a crazy Australian,
Oh my lord, of course. Of course Australian cops are no better than us.
you've kind of got two options for the police. Either you can shoot them with a gun or a taser. Both
Or just beat the fuck out of them.
can lead to death. Like, look at this dude, who was just peacefully tripping out on LSD, minding his own business, naked in 7-Eleven, munching down on some biscuits, when the cops showed up and zapped him until he died. And the majority of deaths caused by tasers are...
I like how you describe minding his own business in a 7-Eleven. I mean, honestly, like, I will say, like, there's, like, if you got a dude like that, there is no reason to be tasting that dude. You can easily just, like, knock him to the ground and just you know, shove him in a car and put him in the, I guess it wouldn't be the drunk tank, but the trip tank, I guess, for the night. I don't know. Then just let him go the next morning.
But I reckon if these spears actually work at controlling people, then I think they would be a great thing for police in Australia to have in their arsenal, so they can prevent needless deaths. So that's why today I'm going to create one of these Chinese man catchers and test one of these spears out to see how well they work and whether they could stop a man on bath salts. But before making my own, I decided to do some research on these man catchers, which was actually
Okay, all right. He's doing research. I'll look. I was gonna skip to the actual stuff, but I'll go into the history of it.
So, it turns out man-catching pole spears have been used by cultures.
Okay, that shit looked like it would just kill you.
Sexy singles near me. So, it turns out man-catching pole spears
Okay, that shit looks yeah. Those like okay, that spear right there with the two prongs. It looks like that's just a way to just impale you.
cultures all across the world for ages. The earliest version was called the Sasumata and did not originate in China, but was actually from feudal Japan, and it looked slightly more menacing then, and
Oh, I see. It was meant to go around the neck.
had spikes and a blade on it, but its purpose was the same, as a non-lethal way of capturing people you wanted caught. They also had a version in Europe which consisted of a spring-loaded door.
Hold on. Here in Europe, we have ways to basically make it worse. We'll have the spikes and sharp stuff pointed at your neck.
That would fit around a man's neck and was mainly used to pull people from horses. Apparently, it was also used to capture noble opponents for ransom, but it still looked like it would hurt a little. And then there was this very lethal man grubber from Papua New Guinea that was used to snare opponents and then stab them in the neck. And
Well,
today the man catchers
that doesn't sound like a man catcher, but like a way to fish people.
that are used by police don't have the blades and spikes and aren't used to capture noble opponents. but are made from aluminium and used by police all
Dude, I love how there's we still have polearm troops. Like, what the fuck?
Man.
Like, people are still having to do polearm techniques and everything.
And the majority of the population do not own guns. But after a series of knife attacks, Sasamattas were introduced in order to allow people to have the upper hand against a knife attacker. They work by allowing the user to pin the attacker to the ground or a wall, while allowing the user of the spear to stay at a safe distance from the attacker until backup arrives with more spears. And
Why don't you... I was about to say, why doesn't that guy just throw a knife at one of them, but then he'll have no knife?
actually work, I think they said.
I feel these do work, but somebody who is very determined to get the fuck out of those things would put up a lot more of a fight. Yeah, the dude has a knife, I guess, and it would be a little harder to try to fight against that with that knife, but, still, I feel while they do seem like they work really well, I want some strong boys, wielding those things.
Great option for cops in Australia. So, I'm going to test two.
Well, I guess they are, because they're all just kind of just sitting there, and this guy is just, he's not fighting, though. That's the thing. I want to see this dude, put up some effort or something.
Version used by
I guess not.
And then I wanted to see if I can design my own man catcher with a locking mechanism that traps the men inside. A bit like marriage. Am I right, fellas?
Buttons.
Hey? Hey, fellas? Alright, so I'm going to cut this out of a piece of plywood and attach it to a wooden dowel, which I have cut a slit in. And I'm calling it now, this is going to break. But I'm a lazy man, so I'm going to use it anyway. So then I just banged a pool noodle on the end of it, so it doesn't hurt that much when I use it. So let's go try this out on my local vagrant who has just taken my bath salts. Alright, give me back your bath salts. Oh, come and get it!
Come and get me your bath salts, mate.
Yeah, something broke. Alrighty, so that broke like I thought it would, so I'm going to attach it properly this time. So my previous attacker was hungover, so I'm now going to test it out on a slightly smaller attacker who hasn't gone through puberty yet.
Give me a real knife.
If you stab me, then you can have a real knife, alright? So I want you to get angry, think about all the times I stole your computer time, okay? Ready, go. Oh!
Oh, you almost got him. If you have your hand out far enough with that polearm, the opponent, at least with this one that he made, he could get his hand fucked up a little. But, oh, no, there you go. He got him.
Get out.
Oh.
And that worked very well, but...
Well, hold on, you can roll out of that. There's a way you can get out of these things, I feel like.
Even better with a longer stick.
Oh, see, he chucked it.
Ready? Go.
Shit, it actually looks more harder to get out of it than it seems. Oh shit, he got out of it! Oh.
And that worked great. But I can already hear some of you screaming at the screen that I am abusing a pre-puberty teen. So
no, he's not. Oh my god, I swear to God, there are actual people that thought that.
Switch the roles around. Alright. Ready, go.
Dude, even the kid is actually holding.
If I pull, see, it's I can't get to you, you can't get to me.
Oh shit, he got him.
And it works extremely well.
It works so well, even a kid could do it.
Even though the user of the man catcher is a lot smaller than I am, they're really able to control me and control my hips and make me unbalanced. But I did notice it had one weakness. If you managed to push it to the side, you could get at the person and spoon them. So that's why I wanted to test whether I could make some modifications to it, making it better at man grabbing or woman grabbing, nobility grabbing, whoever you were grabbing. And this is what I came up with. And it looks pretty cool. although I kind of feel like I have become the physical embodiment of this guy's name.
I just bumped into this channel, Anime Girl, and it's super funny. What the fuck?
So this is how it works. When you push these parts here against a person, they move back until the bolts lock it in place, meaning that it won't be able to open again. And some of you might have noticed that there is a small gap here, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to be catching large people only. So let's go try it out.
So don't they see I need a drink? Well, I can't help you with that.
This is great.
You actually get stuck in there pretty well.
And this is great. Now that you're attached to the attacker, you can really give them the love and care they really need.
The love and care they need.
About their problems. So, tell me about your relationship. Playing Limbo. And then becoming great mates. So there you go. It seems to work pretty well. And you can definitely keep the attacker at a safe distance while controlling their movement. And this was made by me, the guy that is crap at making things. Imagine what professionals could come up with. And I'm not by any means saying that this is a solution to every problem. Like, obviously, in America, where the majority of the population has arms, I wouldn't attempt to use this on a guy with a gun. But
no shit.
Next time someone is experiencing bath salts-induced psychosis, maybe we can grab them with a stick instead of zapping them until they die.
No shit.
Thank you so much.
I mean, no shit. I mean, honestly, that was actually, pretty good little video, that actually ended up kind of being a little more of a social commentary than anything. While also a dude making kind of a cool thing. Honestly, thinking about it, though, yeah, like have, cops have, these extendable fucking things that they could be those, polearm man-catcher things instead. Instead of, fucking tasing people and shooting them instead. I don't know, that'd probably be better. Because that just seems like a better outcome to deal with. Because, yeah, your person's probably going to still fling around and resist or whatever the fuck. But, I mean, they ain't going to go far with one of those stuck to them while they're up against a wall or on the ground or something like that. I mean, honestly, all in all, it does seem like a better idea because then it keeps the person who's trying to capture capture that guy or gal or whoever, more safe too. If anything, it's kind of better for everybody. Because even if you have an attacker who has a knife or some shit like that, even something like a ranged weapon or some shit like that, I mean, those would still be better. At least having a few dudes with that, and then having more body armored dudes being able to go in there to detain a person. It's there's 1,000 different ways to where those could be just fundamentally better when it comes to police interactions, when it comes to criminals and people that you need to arrest or whatever the fuck who happen to be resisting. Oh no, God forbid. Because I feel half of the, it's just, at least, when it comes to, a half of the fucking violent, encounters that happen with police where someone gets significantly injured or killed, I guarantee at least, half of it would probably significantly decrease and shit. I don't care if he gets disclose on stream. Oh, well, no, I won't disclose any info or whatever the fuck. What's between the privacy of two people's fucking conversation and shit? Yeah, it's whatever. Bobo. What are you doing over there? Silly boy. Here, why is Kyle talk about so much, like, it's like Kyle slowly become a tabloid or something. And oh my god, he literally looks like a fucking, like, I'm about to roll up in in like college, you know, in my fucking like 2003, you know, Berkeley drip. Like it's 2003, I'm about to go to UC Berkeley, and you know, I got my 90s drip, been hella listening to some Jay-Z, and I'm ready to flex. Like that is literally what's going on with Kyle right now, dude. Like, oh my god, bro. He's just just Jesus. Like he's immediately like becoming more and more fucking like 90s as he goes along. Is he having like an identity crisis or something? Got reinstalled on Twitter thanks to Elon Musk. You should make a new Twitter too. I mean, honestly, like all in all, like the censorship that is, you know, still going on is primarily towards like leftists anyway, so it wouldn't be that much of a point. I'd be allowed on there and I say like one bad thing about Musk and gone. I'm just, you know, ain't allowed on there again. It's like, oh well, shit. Oh well. There's a lot of excitement for him behind Twitter because of a hope that it would reduce online censorship online. Here's why I don't think that happens. 89% of Twitter's revenue is off ads, 11% is data licensing. And best example, like censorship impacts ads. Tucker Carlson's average 4.3 viewers per episode makes it the most viewed talk show currently on cable. Carlson is the most paid guy, though, where it's reported he has a salary of $10 million a year, which is also attached to a book deal he has to file. Oh, yeah, of course. Ellen DeGeneres, he made $50 million per year off Ellen. Whoopi Goldberg makes $8 million off of The View. Joey Behar, $7 million, and the other hosts bring his salaries over $22 million. And the View averages 2.4 million views, while Ellen was averaging 1.4 million towards the end, but at 2.6 prior. Tucker was a clear winner, but his show wasn't very profitable. Reason is who his advertisers are. MyPillow, AliveCore, Relaxium. What the fuck is that? Pure Talk USA, Lear Capital, Nutrisystem, Granite Store, Relief Factor, Quinnell, Coventry Direct. These are top 10 most advertised products on Tucker Carlson. Compare that, these are the biggest cable ad buyers and how much they spent. Procter & Gamble, 133 mil. Berkshire Hathaway, 696 mil. T-Mobile, 611 mil. Pepsi, 583 mil. AT&T, 560 mil. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So AT, Amazon, AbbVie, Yum Brands, Disney, Comcast. Okay, so took out some content and its people no shit. Because he's a fucking literal white supremacist Nazi. Tucker Carlson ends up getting Disney's of the world, dropping him at one point 20% of his ads were the MyPillow guy. This is the issue with censor-free social media. It makes no money. In summer 2020, there was complaints over Facebook not censoring content, which led to an ad industry boycott. All large name brand companies switched due to complaints pulled from Facebook and 30-day ad ban, which some didn't return to. Just the result of Coca-Cola leaving because the stock dropped where Mark Zuckerberg personally lost $7 billion just on the Coke announcement. If those companies stayed out for a year, Facebook would have lost over $1 billion in revenue just from the censorship issue. That's why I don't believe Elon Musk ultimately makes Twitter this censorship-free dream. Of course, no shit. Even Elon's first week completing a post-completing deal was directed towards advertisers asking him to not pull with changes on censorship. Even the first thing is Kanye West, where Elon Musk responds saying he was responsible for Kanye returning. That choice was made pre-buyout. Kanye says this visibly anti-Semitic rant as the following companies drop him: Adidas, Chase Bank, Foot Locker, blah blah. Yeah, we already know. Because honestly, frankly, like the motherfucker, all in all, is just purely just like. You know, like, when it comes to, like, the censorship and shit, like, I mean, it honestly is, like, more of a benefit overall when it comes to, like, you know, the capital owner and shit, fundamentally, because, like, of what makes more profit. And what, you know, is, like, more palatable for consumers via, you know, what, you know, our push from the advertisers and shit. And, I mean, it's like, while Tucker Carlson has, like, a lot more of a viewership and shit, I mean, when it comes to the capital aspect of things, he's not really exactly as, you know, favored. Which, frankly, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't really mean much outside of, like, oh, yeah, so we don't like white supremacists, Nazi fascists, but we're totally okay with keeping them platformed and shit, but we just don't want avatars attached to them. Like, that's kind of the problem with it. It's just such a half-assed, like, virtue signal of, you know, an addressal to, like, a lot of these white supremacist Nazi type of fucks and shit, because they're not actually deplatforming or censoring them, or doing any of that shit, as much as they want to cry about it. They're basically just having no more advertisements and no more profitability when it comes to their ideas and shit. That doesn't necessarily mean they're being censored. Seems a video. Yeah, I saw it already. I was going to check it out here in a minute. But since you already clicked it, I'll just have it right there. Oh, it is Tucker Carlson anyway. Oh, fuck me. Yeah, because speaking of... I didn't see the Humanist Report video on that one, but I did see Hassan talk about that like a couple days ago. Sometimes I find things that, like, the Humanist Report or like David Dole or one of these other channels might find, you know, like a day or two later after they get recorded, just because, like, Hassan usually reacts to it on his streams, and, like, the 20 however many fucking, like, fan channels of Hassan uploading, you know, the clips of his of a lot of his content and stuff, like, you know, I usually watch those to, you know, see what type of stuff is being reacted to, because I also kind of like Hassan's general analysis of things. I mean, he's not like, I mean, he's definitely a himbo in a lot of ways, but I mean, oh well, so what. Don't like Hassan as much as I like Mike. Yeah, I mean, I like both of them. I like that Hassan's doing his, like, all-union, all-American made fashion line and shit.
So, Tucker Carlson is joining in on the fear-mongering about supposed election fraud. Now, despite zero evidence that there was fraud sufficient enough to change the outcome of the 2020 election, well, Tucker Carlson is going to still claim that fraud is an issue. And watch what he says specifically about John Fetterman. He's going to imply that if John Fetterman wins, it's going to definitely be because of fraud. That's the subtext, right? He doesn't say this explicitly, but he's priming viewers to think about the race in this way. Let's listen.
It's not about the person, it's about the party. It's not about the individual, it's about the group.
And we're 2 seconds in, but I just got to point out, he's saying this about Democrats, as if this isn't also the case with Republicans as well, as if there's no tribalism on the right. Give me a break.
Honestly, I would argue that there's far more of it on the right. They're pretty much, it's like pretty much their core.
Candidates who can barely speak, and they don't expect you to win, but expect you to accept the outcome no matter how transparently absurd it is.
Okay, I'm going to pause it again.
Transparently absurd.
John Fetterman is not mentally defective. He had a stroke. His cognitive function is perfectly fine. It's
not to Tucker Carlson. If you have, like, you know, anything, you know, that has health issues, or, like, especially when it comes to, like, mental health and stuff, that means you're mentally defective and pretty much should be just sent to the gas chambers as far as Tucker Carlson is concerned. Like, he's a fucking Nazi. Like, that's what he fucking believes. Like, he pretty much, like laughs at the face of people, you know, calling him out like that and shit. Like, there was that one picture where I think it was, you know, it's like some, like, you know, article outlet or some shit, you know, openly was calling white nationalists, and he had the paper just literally, like, you know, laughing how he does and shit. being like, oh, look, it's, they're trying to call me a Nazi and a white supremacist, basically, but, look at this, such a joke, and it's like, yeah, because you're just flaunting in it, because that's what you are, you fucking rat.
Articulate himself. It's a hearing issue, to my understanding. And furthermore, would he say the same thing about Herschel Walker, who quite literally...
Honestly, yes. Because, like, if anything, it's just like, to Tucker Carlson, like, it is about the party and the group. And even if there's, like, someone who happens to be, like, mentally defective, especially of an inferior race, to Tucker Carlson, as long as he's touting, the same ideological lines and shit, it doesn't matter. Like, he could be mentally defective as long as he just is a means to the end of what he wants. Am I right? No. Obviously not.
Mental issues. I believe that he has multiple personalities. I don't know what the particular diagnosis is with regard to that, and I don't know if Herschel has that under control, but very clearly, Herschel Walker is cognitively limited. But yet, he's not going to say the same thing about Herschel Walker. It's not rigged if Herschel...
Honestly, I'd argue that he would.
Walker.
Just not openly. He does privately. Like, that's the caveat. Like, Tucker Carlson privately would believe that, but, like, on the show, he would never say that. Because it's about ideology and the party line.
The Democrat wins.
On November 9th, they'll be telling you that John Fetterman got 81 million votes in Pennsylvania, and they'll threaten to put you in jail if you don't believe it. Why wouldn't they do that? They work with Joe Biden.
Huh?
Glenn Green...
Fucking, like, the work with Joe Biden, gonna stack my papers up nice and neatly. Checkmate, communist. It's like, John Fetterman is literally trying to, like, pardon nonviolent, offenders and shit when it comes to, like, Pennsylvania. So, how's that work? Oh, but, we're gonna do, like, massive lockup campaigns, though, if we win.
Substack, who joins us tonight. Glenn, thanks so much for coming on. There's something...
Is Glenn gonna come here?
Oh my god, he actually has fucking Glenn Greenwald. Dude, what the... Fuck you, Glenn Greenwald, you fucking little shit.
Is Glenn gonna push back against these bogus claims of fraud? No, of course not, because Glenn is a stooge for the right. He's going to be their useful idiot and do exactly what he knows that they want him to do. But look at this graphic here. Fetterneck. Because he has
a neck?
A bump on his neck. I guess that's what it is. And then also fear-mongering about Biden. So this shit has just... It hasn't stopped. The election fraud claims just keep coming. And it's bad for democracy. I mean, I've talked about this on the show before. I don't know what else to say. I'm sick of this shit. We shouldn't be dreading elections every 2 to 4 years. But we're going to because of these dipshit Republicans and propagandists like Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, no shit.
Who are overtly, fear-mongering about fraud. So, yeah.
I hope Fetterman gets 81 million votes now. I mean, I don't even think that would be possible for Pennsylvania. But, yeah, I mean, at this rate, I hope he does fucking win. Maybe more so. Because, I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, these Republicans and fascist types, and just aren't going to outright give a fuck. At the end of the day, they're all about, trying to gain power and fucking, maximize that as much as possible in the government and, in the globe, too. And with that, is basically just going to, use anything, including election fraud, to be able to get their way. Because they don't care. While they scream about election fraud, they're the ones out there committing it. Want to take my keep getting elected? Because it's fucking Alabama. I mean, there's just like a lot of, people who are just legit pieces of shit that just don't, fucking care. And will vote against their own interests and shit. Because they're just that fucking stupid. What the fuck? A crush kills at least 146 at a Halloween festivities in Seoul, in Korea. A crowd crush that happened as a crowd surged into an alley. What the fuck happened?
A Halloween gathering in South Korea has claimed at least 149 lives. Fire officials report that 150 people have also been injured. Social media videos like this one show crowded streets in a Seoul entertainment district just before the incident. South Korean police say more than 100,000 people were there for the event and may have been crushed by the crowd. It's not known yet what caused the chaotic scene exactly.
Oh my fucking god, of course. Well, we don't know. We just know what happened. Really? It's one of those LBGT for Trump types. Just because you're going to be the last one into the fucking wall, you know, where you're going to see like the 1 foot of thick plastered like gunk of brain matter and shit, you know, it's just like, just because you're gonna be the last one in line doesn't mean that you're gonna be like accepted into the fucking cult. Unless you fucking like totally repent and convert to being straight again and shit, they're not gonna care. And even then, they'll be suspect of you. Ugh. I'm feeling pretty hungry, so see what else is on tube here, and probably be back in a little bit after that. But Ricky takes over the cold weather safety meeting. Ooh, what's this? I'll be back later. Yeah. Well, so I was going to check out at least 1 or 2 more things before I dipped. I'm saying I was feeling pretty hungry. That doesn't mean I'm leaving, like, now. I'll give it a little bit.
Your cold weather is upon us.
Here we go again.
Here we go again.
Ricky, is there something you'd like to say? No, you kind of didn't sound too happy when I told you we were having the cold weather safety meeting.
I'm just saying, it's probably my top 5 most pointless safety meetings we have. I mean, it gets cold every single year. Like, why do we have to have a meeting to tell people at work that it's about to get cold outside? I feel like at their adult age, they should know.
You know what? Honestly, for fucking real, though. It's like, hey, guess what? The seasons change. But Lord, the seasons are changing. We must remember to have our safety precautions for the winters.
Pointless? Why don't you get up here and give the safety meeting yourself? And maybe you'll understand the importance of it. Like, go ahead, come on up here, come stand up here and tell us what you think the cold weather safety meeting should be about. Come on.
Piece of cake, okay? Well, you can see a lot from up here. This is a good spot to stand. I see now why you stand.
It's like, I see why you like to stand right here. Oh, you feel very power and authoritative.
Aside, I mean, I don't know if y'all are just fucking stupid, or your last 2 brain cells are fighting over a crack rock, okay? If you go outside, you have to wear warmer clothes. If you show up to work in a wife beater or a short sleeve shirt, and it is 28 degrees outside, bad news, boys. It's gonna be real fucking
It's bad news.
Okay?
Okay.
At some point during that day, you're probably going to get so cold as to the point that your life may be threatened. That's called death by stupidity. Hypothermia. Alright?
And hypothermia.
Well, I mean, I think we're all following along what you're saying, Ricky, but you know, we can't control the weather, okay? And it's that beautiful time of year where it's winter in the morning, spring by lunch, and summer at 3 o'clock. I mean, I can't control that. I don't really know what to wear, you know? I don't know what it's going to be throughout the day.
Well, you know, see, I understand that you cannot control the weather, but you can control that fucking smartphone that you pay $200 for.
Yeah.
Up, scroll over to the Weather Channel, click it, and see how cold it's going to be the next day when you go to work.
No shit.
But that and what you put on that morning before you leave the house to go to work, but really that's all you need to control. Okay?
Okay.
The fucking Weather Channel said it's going to be in the 20s. You need to dress appropriately, alright? You can always take a jacket off. You can't always put a jacket on if you ain't got it. Alright, are you understanding what I'm telling you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm getting it. I mean, you probably could have told me in a less smart-ass way, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm on the track here.
And I would like to add one point to this cold weather safety meeting that the safety man does always miss for some reason. Just because it is getting colder outside does not mean you need to stop wearing deodorant. Okay? You're musty as fuck with the hoodie on. And eventually you're gonna end up taking the hoodie off in the break room at least once, and I really am getting tired of gagging when this happens. So please, personal hygiene is a year-round thing, not a hot weather thing. Can we all get on the same basis on that?
Yes. Yeah, of course. I would hope so. Oh my god, yes. Dude, I love Ricky. I love that little character, Ricky. It's the only time I think will ever like that little filter and that little voice is out of Ricky. That's, I think, the only time I think I'll actually ever enjoy that filter and voice. Because I don't know what it is, but being the character of Ricky, it makes it too just magnifique. Honestly, it's like I feel the same with my coworkers, because when he comes back from lunch, he's all like, and he has a hoodie on. I'm like, are you cold? And he's just like, shut up, man. It's like, shut up. It's like, you know I don't hold body temperature. That's just like but you have jackets. You have a smartphone where you can check the weather. And see, for me, I just like wearing jackets, so, I mean, usually for me, I'm always, like, sweating my balls off no matter what, like, if I'm outside. So, usually that's my problem. I don't, like, because right when I go outside, I'm like, ooh, nippy. And then once I'm out, like, kind of walking for, like, a good 5, 10, 15-something minutes, and I start all getting sweaty. It's like, shit. Layered up too much. What's with that dog locking himself in the fucking, closing the door in the laundry room on himself? I mean, he's in there all passed out asleep now, but... Is this the end of Twitter? Oh no. Oh my god. There's just so, like, I'm seeing at least, like, 3 or 4 things within this past, like, hour and a half on just fucking, like, Musk alone, buying Twitter, and actually now officially owning it. It's like, oh my fucking god. And there's another, I guess, apology that Kanye did. Jesus Christ. Man, it's like, I guess there's, like, some drama hot takes galore shit going on, but it's, like, shit that I just do not give a fuck about. Well, or at least I'm starting to not give a fuck about it anymore. It's like, alright, like, day 546 of Kanye being insane. It's like in an anti-Semitic shitbag. It's like, alright, what else is new at this rate? I mean, the only reason why at this point he's getting notoriety is because people keep mentioning it. Stepdad thinks if he buys enough lotto tickets, he'll win. I mean, I've done lotto tickets before, and I've gotten some winnings and shit, but I've never gotten more than $100. On average, I'm usually getting, like, if, like, you know, a lotto ticket on average is, like, $2 or something, about, you know, like, usually I get $2 back, or $4, sometimes I'll get, like, $20, or something like that. I mean, that's usually, like, some of the more common winnings, but it's like, alright, cool, I could treat myself for the day with this, you know, it's like more like that. It's like, hey, I want something to treat myself today, you know, it's like, it's not like a huge fucking winning. I have known people that have actually gotten, you know, some pretty decent winnings, like, yeah, like $500, or like 800, or 1,000 and stuff. Like, I've known people that have actually gotten some winnings before, so it's not like it's impossible to win something. But to win big, like, it's like, don't even bother. Like, that's kind of the whole thing with lotto tickets for me. It's like, you know, it's like, buy one, you know, if you want to buy one, you know, go for it, for sure. But, like, don't expect to, like, get, a big winning if you do win anything. Like, I mean, you know, if you do get like a pretty decent winning of, you know, of a decent amount, like, you know, $1,000 or some shit, just, you know, just consider yourself legit, like, you know, Lady Luck being on your side for that one, with that little ticket. Talk about scaredy cat. Watch this dog freeze in his tracks when he stumbles upon okay. I don't normally click links on community posts and shit, but I'm willing to for this one. Oh, let's see. When your lab is terrified of cats.
Like a decorative dog standing amid 5 Halloween decoration cats.
Oh my god.
But the dog is real. A lab by the name of Maverick.
He was just like frozen. I mean, it's like somebody just like frozen in place.
Maverick's owner.
Did you turn on the warp drive animatic core? That's my heater. That's my fucking heater. Yeah, we're about to go into warp drive.
As it was the first time the dog saw the cats, he stopped in his tracks.
Oh my god.
In their South Texas front yard, as Ab, his wife, and even his 5-year-old daughter cracked up.
Maverick.
It looks like you paused it. One TikToker joked another, I think your dog is broken. To do a hard reset, refer to owner's manual.
Well, that was a very robotic way of saying it, news lady. Refer to owner's manual. And also, this one comment. Have you tried unplugging and unplugging it back in?
Was as if Maverick was...
Oh my god, this is... this funny dog, dude.
On a tail, woke up first. Someone pointed out, Lab thinks he's a pointer. So we showed the video to Justin McGill, who breeds pointing labs at Hunters Point Kennel in Iowa. Was Maverick...
Wait, so now they're like, oh, is he like a pointed lab, or was he not a pointed lab? You know, it's just like, what? Oh my god, dude, Jesus Christ. Like, I think local news is trying to, like, make way too much of just a dog. Just being, like, just terrified because it hasn't seen those, and it thought it was, like, real things, and it was probably legit scared, like, oh shit. It's funny, though. He was on point, as labs will do. He was scared. Instinct kicked in, he was on point. Smart dog knows when to freeze when he's surrounded by cats. If I think I was a dog, I'd be nervous. All of a sudden, surrounded by 5 cats and probably freeze, so trying to figure out if they're real or not. Not because let's face it, most of the time, the cats are real, and so are their claws. Oof. And maybe that dog was like, oh shit. I remember last time when 5 cats rolled up all around me. I got fucked up, man. But anyway, gonna at least get myself some food here, and all that fun shit. Then some other groceries, and see if I can maybe grab in a couple hours of work or something like that. Just to make sure that this week's paycheck's at least got a little more than pittance. So anyway, peace out. I'll be back around later tonight, and see y'all on that next.